Okay, so you are getting a kind of pulled back look at my desk today. I wanted to walk you through my bag that I'm taking to a Bible journaling retreat, what all I have packed in it, and kind of give you some tips and tricks. Maybe leave a comment down below for me if you see that I'm missing something glaringly obvious. If you've been watching a bunch of my videos and you're like, no, you forgot to put that in there. I'm sure I did, because I'm packing a week early, which I don't typically do. I typically pack like a day or two beforehand. So I've got some time. And so let me walk you through what I've pulled and kind of give you my thinking behind everything. Okay, so you're going to get chopped off me, but I want you to focus on the bag, not on me. This was the best way to set it up so you can see kind of how I have things packed, and then I can show you what I've packed. So for reference, I'm going to a crafting retreat in New Hampshire put on by Taryn, Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. I will be flying from California to Connecticut and driving up to New Hampshire. I will be checking my crafty bag, though I know a lot of people do carry on. You just need to keep in mind things that you can't carry on, like scissors, your distressed spray stains, liquids, things like that. So you want to double check. I just wanted to be sure. I'm just checking it. It just makes it a lot easier for me. And I was bringing a lot of things that I couldn't take on carry-on. So I was looking into a few different bags. I had taken a kind of roller style bag last year and I hated it. It was clunky. It didn't have a lot of space because it wasn't really suited for crafting retreats, and it wouldn't sit on top of my luggage, just various things that were issues. So when I was looking for a bag this year, I initially thought that I would go with something like this. This is one of the commuter backpacks from Target. This is the smaller size. They have a larger size. This bag, while really nice and durable, has lots of pockets. This is more for like a change of clothing, your iPad. There are, lots of pockets, but when you look at the sizing, it is significantly smaller than this bag is. And it may not be super obvious on camera, but it is much smaller. And for the price, I actually paid more for this than I did for this bag. So I will be using this as my carry-on with snacks, iPad, a change of clothing, a few toiletries, things like that in case my luggage gets lost. Also my Bible, most likely. I know a lot of people actually will take their Bible as a carry-on just to be safe, so that will fit in here as well. So I will link this bag down below if it's something that you're interested in. If you think that you could pack in this, there is a larger one, but I think that it was $80 for the larger one. This one was $50, so still a little pricey, but very, very nice quality. It does have a strap that fits over your luggage, which was kind of a requirement for me. So I had remembered that Andrea, Retro Hit Mama, had mentioned a bag from Wer Memory Keepers. And so I reached out and asked her. I know that she said that she loved it. She actually used this as a carry-on. We had a little back and forth. You can take your ink pads on carry-on. You just can't take anything that's a loose liquid, or of course your scissors, things like that. So you definitely could take this as a carry-on. I won't be. I will be checking this bag. So I may rearrange some things just to kind of put the more fragile stuff towards the center just to be safe. If you've ever watched any of those videos of them loading and unloading the plane, they're like hucking your stuff off the plane. So, but I'm not too concerned about that with the quality of this bag. So I found mine on Amazon. I think I paid about $35 for this one. They do have a different colorway that is actually, I liked the other colorway better. But that one was like $72. You definitely could shop around. I'll give you some different options down below. So still cheaper than that bag from Target. And the nice thing about this is that it is suited for crafters. It's created with crafters in mind. So pockets are a certain size. The overall size of the bag is just really, really nice. It's very, very nice quality. So it's like a canvas material with a faux leather and a gold detail. The zippers are very, very nice, heavy duty zippers, which is amazing. I don't have to worry about this bag coming apart. On the back side here, it is a backpack, so very easy to carry. And then it does have that strap to go over your luggage, which is really nice. So that was kind of a requirement for me. So whether you are, flying, or maybe you're just going to a regular Bible journaling group that you go to or something like that, scrapbooking crop, this bag is going to be really good for that. So for this retreat, one of my things, and what I did last year, was I try to pack with some projects in mind. So I don't just take everything in my craft space. That would be entirely impossible. So I try to think of what I'm going to create in and what I'm going to create. So this year, I'm going to take either or. I'm not quite haven't decided yet. my interleaved Bible. So I wouldn't do my interleaved and my illustrating. I would only do one or the other. So I went ahead and decided to do the interleaved, just honestly because it's a little bit smaller than my illustrating Bible. Those Bibles are big mamas. I don't travel with those. But an even easier way to create on a retreat like this would be one of the pocket Bibles. So this is a little kit that you can get from By the Will for God. It comes with a small little Bible that you can fabric cover. It comes with little blank cards that you can create on it, and then you tuck the cards in there. This would be a fantastic idea for a retreat because then you could create on cards and then stick them in. So you don't have that pressure of creating directly on the Bible page while you're chit-chatting and there's food and, you know, all that kind of thing. So if you are really nervous about creating your Bible, this might be a great option. Or you wouldn't even need to take the Bible with you. You could just pack some cards, create some cards, and then when you get home, tuck them into your Bible. So that is definitely a consideration, especially if you are, you know, kind of trying to save on space. I'm flying South. I was very blessed to be gifted tickets for Southwest, so I get to check 2 bags. So I'll have my bag with my clothing and all my regular stuff, and then this bag. So that makes it, you know, so I have a little bit more room. So diving right in, I decided I'm only going to take things to work with the kit printables. So, or the retreat printables. So Taryn had a set of printables put together for the retreat. And so I'm only picking colors and products and things that go with that, and will only be creating kind of around that theme. Last year, I took the By the Will for God kit with me as well, and I didn't even touch it. I honestly didn't even finish one full Bible journaling page through the course of the entire weekend. So with that in mind, I try to kind of weed out some of the things that I was taking. So let's start with this large compartment. So this large compartment opens up, and it's actually 12 inches wide. So it does have slots in here that you could fit full 12-inch papers in here if you are a scrapbooker, which is really nice. Last year, I packed all of this kind of stuff in one of the Tim Holtz tins. I am using those, but I'll be using those for something different this year. So in this top little pouch up here, I have mostly tools. So I have my large Tim Holtz scissors, and I will try to link everything down below that is, you know, available to purchase. A palette knife, because I do want to play with some texture paste. Some paint brushes. I try to whittle it down to just a large one for adding, you know, glue or big swaths of paint or something like that. And then my favorite paintbrush to splatter with, a water brush, a fine tip water brush, and then one of my blending brushes. I do have these for kind of each color family, but I can clean this off on a baby wipe and just take the ones. I don't need a whole bunch. Now, part of my thing too is that being here on YouTube, doing what I do, I imagine people are going to ask about how to do certain techniques. So I try to pack things with that in mind, things that maybe somebody had seen on my channel that might want to try out in person at the retreat. So I may not necessarily bring all of this if it was just for me by myself, but I try to bring things that I think other people might want to use as well. I have this little zipper pouch. This is for Marine parents. I don't think that she has a shop any longer, but this has my smaller tools, smaller set of scissors, a bone folder, because I am going to be bringing some dies, envelope dies and things like that. A smaller paintbrush. This is for perfect pearls, so you'll see that. A pencil that I threw on the floor, and then a micron pen. I only brought one micron pen. I brought the PN, which is like a bullet nib, and that way I can, you know, press and get a thicker line, or be lighter handed and get a smaller line. I don't need a full set of micron pens with me. And then I put a craft pick. This is just kind of handy when I'm using my dies, if I'm punching a hole for brads, things like that, holding things down while drying it, just kind of a handy little tool. So obviously I would not be able to take, you know, some of those things on as my carry-on, so keep that in mind. I did not want to be prohibited by carry-on rules with my crafting supplies, so I tried to, you know, kind of avoid that. So that all fits in this nice mesh pouch that's on top. And then diving into here, I have one of these iris photo cases, and I've already gone ahead and printed out and cut out all of the retreat printables. I may do a second set. I will probably add some things in here, maybe some other printables. I want to create some die cuts ahead of time, and I can put those all in this photo box and they're ready to go. If you like to just chit chat and fussy cut, you may want to just take the page and fussy cut at the retreat, but I like to have everything kind of done ahead of time. That way I'm ready to go. Also have a heat tool. Now you've seen me both use the Ranger heat tool and then an embossing tool. rather than bring both, I'm just going to bring this one. This one is very, very, very hot, but if I'm very careful, I can dry things with this, and it's faster to emboss, and it's just a smaller, easier profile to pack, so I'm just taking the one. Okay, this is mostly stamps, embossing folders, and dies. I do have a bag of liquid. Now, one thing that I think is important is to bag all of your liquid things. It would be miserable if something exploded in my bag and then got all over everything. So at least this way, if it explodes, it's just contaminating what is in the bag with it. I do empty out my sprayer before I go, and then I can fill it when I get there. But I still have some crafting to do for the next week before I leave, so I'm not dumping that out now, but I do travel with that empty. I have an embossing dauber, so rather than bringing a Versamark ink pad, I'm bringing the dauber because I can do either or. I can ink up a stamp with this, or I can apply it to a larger area and then apply embossing powder. So this is a clear sticky ink. Foundry wax, I'm only bringing one. I'm bringing statue. I figure some people might want to play with it that haven't picked it up yet. Rather than bringing all four, I'm just bringing the one that I know I'm most likely to use. We'll coordinate with the goodies, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to take Mind as well. So those will both go in there. My glue, now I do have the different top for my glue that basically seals it, so if I can get this top off, I will put that cap on my glue. That way I don't have to worry about it oozing out of the fine tip applicator, but of course have to have my liquid glue. So rather than bringing an adhesive tape runner, I don't like those. In fact, some of my older Bibles, it's gotten weird in there, so liquid glue is my preferred, but you could also do a glue stick if you were concerned about things blowing up in your bag. And these two tubs are going to be distress grit paste and multimedia mats. So if I'm going to be doing like a whole background or doing some collage, something like that, or prepping something, I can use this for all of that. And then grit paste, rather than bringing crackle and plain, I just figured I'm going to commit to one, and that's it. Usually I'll go back through my bag a couple of times, everything that I have packed, and slowly take out some things. Really look at it, decide, do I need all of this? And each pass, I end up taking some things out. Like I said, I had way more than I needed last year, and this is way more than I need for this year. Embossing folders. Since it is a fall-themed retreat, I'm taking a lumber style embossing folder. Even though it's 106 degrees here today, I'm ready to be thinking about leaves. So I'm taking the couple of leaf 3D embossing folders that I have from Tim Holtz. This is the newer one. This is acorns, so acorns and leaves. And then this one here is woven, so it's a nice woven texture. So those are the ones I'm bringing. Again, probably don't need all of them, but just thinking of some things that other people can use as well if they want to. For dies, now I'm going to try to pack my Spellbinders die cutting machine in my luggage suitcase is my plan, depending on if I'm underweight or not. So I am going to bring some dies. I'm bringing the specimen die. I really want to play with the specimen die. I'm doing all kind of fall nature, kind of is my mindset behind my projects. And so I want to use that. Maybe I'll find something that I actually want to put in there while we're out hiking or something. Wildflowers, these are wildflower stems 1 and 2, I believe, from Tim Holtz, much larger dies. This is skeleton leaves, one of my favorite. It was so fun to pull out all of the fall ones. Fall foliage is a good one. This is leaf fragments. And now that I'm thinking about it, there were 2 more that I was going to grab. I'll go grab those. This one here is a newer one I have, Mixed Media number 5. I want to play with these kind of punch out themes. The nice thing about this retreat is I'm not filming it. It's not for you guys, it's for me. And so I get to create some of the things that I want to create. Not that I don't already do that, but I don't have to worry about if it's too elaborate. I don't have to worry about if it's something on trend. I don't have to worry about if it's something current or sold out or whatever it is. I get to just create. So this is a new die I haven't got to use yet, so I'm going to take it so I can try to use it. Vintage labels, and then collector. So those are the dies that I've packed. Let me grab the other ones I was thinking of. Okay, the 2 impresslets. There are 2 different leaves. These are the ones that emboss and cut out at the same time. Last year, I created a whole bunch of die-cut leaves that were like sprayed with spray stains and did some fun techniques. That was a lot of fun. So I figured I'd bring the stuff to do that again this year, and then just kind of have a little side station set up. If there's people that want to learn the technique or create it, I've got all this stuff there on hand, and we can create them to go along with the printables. Okay, for stamp sets, I went a little crazy, but again, it's trying to pull things that I haven't used in a while that I think I might use. For alphas, I have a small one, another mini. These are all mostly from By the Will for God. Of course, the little Matthew, I have the full set of Matthew stamps that I'm taking. Since I'm creating in my interleaved Bible, I wanted to make sure that I had some items that were big to fill in that bigger page. So this is Annie from Felicity Jane. I'm not sure if this one's still available, but it's a nice big bold text. This is Nature Lover from Carrie Bradford's studio. Love all the leaves and foliage. So I want to mix in some stamps with those paper printables that I did. This is from Retro Hip Co. This is Postmark, and since I have that envelope die, I wanted to throw that in there. This is the new stamp set from the current issue, number 26 from the Crafty Babe magazine. Really love these florals and that leaf. There's some fall themes in there, so I decided to pull it out. I haven't got to use it yet, so we'll use that. Matthew Middle and Matthew Numbers. So just, picked kind of one and then went all the sizes, 6x8, 4x6, and 3x4 for that one font. It's the newer stamp from By the Will for God. This is Take Flowers. So I've got some that I can stamp in fussy cut or colors. Sometimes I'm just so busy I'm not creating an entire page. Maybe I just want to stamp in color while I'm chit-chatting. Autumn Blooms. Really love the leaves in here. Autumn Leaves. I think that's a no-brainer. And then since we'll be, kind of in this like campy, there's a lake, there's hills, there's trees. This is an older one, Majestic Mountains, that has this mountain, has some birds, and I love the trees that are in here. I want to create some themed Bible journaling entries as we work through the devotional content that Taryn has for us and the retreat printables and the theme of the retreat. This is a much older set. This is Merry Christmas that Ashley Hakey did for By the Will for God years ago, but it has this little pine cone, little trees, even that little deer head's kind of cute there. Holy Confidence. So in the printables for the retreat, there is a A-frame cabin in there, so I thought these would be fun to incorporate, as well as like the trees and shrubs and things like that. Would be a good one for the retreat. And then just some fun. Maybe I want to create some die-cut ephemera, maybe do some little cards, just some coloring, coffee cups with fall-themed things, and then those drip splatters. Just thought it was fun. So those are the stamps and dies and embossing folders that I have packed. So now you can see in here, there is this piece here, and this is what separates the top from the bottom of the bag. Now, my one big complaint is that the zipper is actually accessible from the underneath. It's not accessible from this top portion. I wish that it had a pull on both sides. It doesn't. Not that I can find, unless I find it right here, but I don't think so. No, it's only accessible from the underside. So we'll get to that in just a second. But in this pouch here, again, this is 12 by 12 size. I didn't have a lot of room to tuck things in here, so these are going to be my flatter things. I have some more stamps from Tim Holtz, of course, just way more stamps than I could possibly use. This is Ledger Script for backgrounds, Eccentric, and Field Notes, two of my favorites for just adding textures and things like that. And then this one here is Tapestry that I thought would be good for backgrounds. And I have the Matthew 6x8. And then this is a 6x8 stamp pocket that I have put a selection of papers in. So I have a few different Tim Holtz backdrops that I have, again, gone through and pulled things that will color coordinate with the printables. I picked out a few of the metallic craft cardstocks from Tim Holtz, put those in there. Some of the wallpapers, these are the Halloween wallpapers from last year. So I have a few of those in there. And then these are some journaling cards that I went through, picked ones, trying to envision how I would use it and whether the color matches or not. And that's how I kind of chose whether it goes in there or not. This here is an idea that I got from Juicy Christians on Instagram. She keeps her Tim Holtz ephemera stored this way. So this is a mixed media booklet. This I got from Walmart. And the nice thing about this one is it actually has, the pages are removable and you can reinsert the pages into here. So I took out all of the extra pages. Let me put a couple spare ones in there because it is mixed media paper, so I can use it. But this is what stores my Tim Holtz ephemera. So just using a dot adhesive so that it's removable, you just put a little bit of dot adhesive on the back of the ephemera piece and then stick it down in here. So rather than taking a whole bunch of packets of die cuts or boxes of die cuts, everything is nice and stored flat in this booklet. So then I can easily see things, again, because I'm creating for me this retreat, I can use up some of the pieces that I've been hoarding and wanted to use that maybe not coordinate with different kits or things like that. I can just do a whole Tim Holtz page if I want to. And so I've got lots of pieces in here. I will also slide in some regular cardstock, craft stock, just basic papers in here as well, just so that it keeps everything nice and flat in there for traveling. Okay, let's move on to, I think that's everything in here. So accessing the bottom panel. Let me move some things away and we'll access this bottom area. Okay, so this is accessible from the back, or if you leave the zippered part open, you can access it from the top down. So in here I have some of my Tim Holtz storage tins. These are amazing for traveling. So I have a couple different ones in here. I have the distress crayon tin. I have the mini distress ink pad tin, and then two of the larger ink pad tins in here. So let me kind of pull these out. Okay, so for this one I used it just how it's meant to be used. There's a plastic insert down in the bottom that lets all of your ink pads kind of sit down in there. I only am taking the Distress Oxide ink pads in here, and I went through and picked out a color palette that goes along with the printables for this retreat. So if you're going on the retreat, here's a look at the colors I'm taking. Tattered Rose, Aged Mahogany, Rusty Hinge, Antique Linen, Scattered Straw, Fossilized Amber, Bundled Sage. This one is Rustic Wilderness, Iced Spruce, Pine Needles, Tea Dye, Brushed Corduroy, Frayed Burlap, Hickory Smoke, and Ground Espresso. So I filled it in. There were a couple in here that were extras like Frayed Burlap, Ground Espresso, but I figured I've got the space, stick them in there. And so this is the color palette that I will be using for any distressed products that I'm taking. Spray stains, the crayons, all those various things. And it's nice because it's a nice closure. Last year I took these with me and they were checked bag and they were fine. They did great in here. So that is that first one. And then the second one, I took out the plastic insert and I'm just using it as a regular container. So this is holding all my distressed spray stains. Now, I will go in and put these in sandwich baggies before putting them in here. That way everything is kind of wrapped in plastic in case they do explode. They're only going to affect, the few that are in the baggie with them. Last year I didn't have anything explode, but I know it happens. So I am only taking distressed spray stains because I'm taking oxide ink pads. If I want splatters of oxide, I can smush out the ink pad, add water, and use it that way. So I don't need to take both the spray stain and the oxide spray for each color. So there is a look at those. I actually used these quite a bit last year. I have one of the mini ink pads. So I have a few of my neutral colors. I like to use distress inks when I am aging the edges of things, and rather than the oxides, I like the deeper tone of distress inks. So I have my neutrals, and then I picked a couple different colors of the color palette just to fill out this tin with the distress inks. These do house their little mini foam blending sponge on the bottom of them, so everything is nice and contained. I will probably also add a strip of tape on here just to hold it nice and tight closed. This one here is a distressed crayon container. So I have distressed crayons in here, but then I also have a couple of distressed glazes. I have antique linen and vintage photo. I also have some gold embossing powder, and then I threw in some perfect pearls. Rather than taking mica sprays, I just thought I would take perfect pearls. I'm taking pewter and perfect bronze. That was why I had that brush in there. I can add water to these and make a pearlized color. I can add these to my other distress colors, make them pearlized. So this is just a nice kind of small way to take those. And then a selection of washi tapes. I don't use a whole lot of washi, but maybe somebody else will want to use some, and it's a way to use up my stash. So I do have some of those. This is an older one from another company, but just trying to take up the space that I have with some items. So there's that little box there. And so like I said, all of that fits in this bottom compartment down here, but to open this, you do have to access that zipper from here, and that is how you take down this panel. So like I said, one complaint of mine is I wish that it was done the other way, but it is what it is. But it does make it nice that if I have everything packed in here and I just want to pull out my mediums, I'm not having to take all my stamps out of the top to get to those containers at the bottom. I can just open this, pull them out, and then I can leave all my stamps and dies and things up here. Okay, moving to the outside pockets. This one here was sized for a paper trimmer, so it will accommodate a 15-inch tall paper trimmer. However, my Fiskars paper trimmer was too tall. It wouldn't fit in here. So I have my nonstick craft mat. I have a couple of collage papers, again, maybe for some other people to play with. This is document and typography. There's also some techniques I wanted to try with those. Have my tiny attacher that might go into another pocket on the inside, and then a selection of stencils. So I just went through, picked some By the Will for God stencils. There's this mountain one, Momentary Affliction, this older one with the acorns and leaves, taking speckles from Tim Holtz, autumn layering from Tim Holtz, and of course floral, because that is a favorite of mine. So just a few stencils. I don't need to take 5,000 stencils. That's kind of the key, guys, is less is more. Just take a few things, go through your bag multiple times and whittle out stuff every single time that you go through, and then you won't be so overpacked. All right, this little piece flaps up here. In here I have stamping things. So I have my stamping blocks. I did throw in some Versamark ink, but I think this was more so for other people to use if they wanted to use it, since I have that embossing jobber. VersaFine Onyx Black ink, that's just kind of my go-to. And then I do washi tape my ink pads so that I don't worry about them flopping open. They're nice and secure. Bringing 2 archival inks. I have frayed burlap and black soot. I may throw a brown in there as well. Again, all washi tape so everything's nice and secure. And since I'm taking washi tape with me, I can washi tape them again before I come home. That's always kind of the trickier part, is actually the packing for the trip home. Okay, this bottom pouch, there's actually a zipper here that has 2 pockets in the front. I don't have anything in those. And then this larger one here has 2 pockets on the inside here. I just have some paper bits. So these are some ephemera pieces that hadn't made it into that mixed media book yet. Of course, some mummy cloth. Love the texture, especially for fall. Some tags. I thought maybe I would just want to create on tags rather than a full journaling page. So I did bring some distressed tags, and then salvaged tags. This is just a packet of tags that I have that I haven't even used yet. So I threw those in there. So maybe I will use them for the retreat. All right, coming down the home stretch, there is this set of side pockets here. The first one, I have my powder tool for embossing. I have a Cocoina glue stick, my blending tool that works with those foams on the underside of my distress inks, some hardware. I have some long fasteners from Tim Holtz, and then I also have my little pots of the mini clips and little mini paper clips. I showed these in my recent What's in My Cart video. That was also the hard part about packing so early, is I'm still using some of these items for my videos for you guys. So this will get unpacked and then repacked most likely. So there's that. Again, these are on the outside, so I'm trying to be mindful of things that might break or get smashed on the outside pockets when they're being checked. This pouch right here is nice and open and wide. I was trying to see, there are pencil pen loops in here, so if you wanted to put your pencil pens water brushes, paint brushes, things like that in there, you definitely could. I just have my 2 Tim Holtz sprayers in here in case I want to do some mixed media. So there is a look at what I have packed so far. I may throw in my, trying to see, it looks like there's a whole other zipper. It's open all the way. That gets nice and chunky, so that actually opens up so it can get nice and thick, which is awesome. Anyways, I am going to take my, or thinking about taking my jelly plate for some different techniques. So that is what I have packed so far. I will try to link what I can down below. Hopefully that kind of gives you some ideas, especially you ladies that are going to the retreat as well. Kind of gives you an idea of what I'm taking, kind of my mindset behind it. If you have any questions, be sure to leave those down below. Check out the description box for links to things. Give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.